Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Another episode is ahead of you of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on the Chop Sports Media YouTube channel, along with the My Fandom YouTube channel, and wherever you get your podcast. The Dallas Cowboys are 1-0. We are on our way to the Super Bowl. We are on our way. Yeah, listen, I'm a little sturching today, a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. It is Dave Sturchio, his nationally known comedian Bret Ernst, and of course the Grinch back in the building after his 1 week hiatus. He said he didn't want anything to do with Jesse Holly, so he said, "I'm done. I'm not joining on." But Keith has also shared a fantastic reel on Instagram of showing his beach football skills. Keith, I don't know how you do it, bro. I can barely walk in the sand, let alone play football.
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
You were like the player of the week or some shit.
Don't let the old man in.
Don't let the old man in. I'm about to get that tattooed on my forehead.
Oh, yeah.
Brett, how we doing, bro? How we feeling after the 1-0 win?
Happy birthday, Sturch.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. Little Sturch is now 39 years old, so it's middle-aged Sturch, as Brett said before in the text. But yeah, so feeling good.
You're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Soon enough, I'll be your guys' age. Which is great. Is an inside joke with my daughter. She swears to God she's going to catch up to me one day, and I'm like, well, that's not how it works. But I'll explain that to her in another day. But listen, 1-0, 33-17 win over Cleveland. We'll get into the game in just a couple minutes, but first and foremost, the biggest news of the weekend happened before kickoff, and this is where, there's different opinions about, is it good, is it bad, is it indifferent, whatever. We were waiting for it. We talked to Jesse Holly last week about it, but Dak Prescott gets his 4-year deal. It was a big news drop right before the 1 o'clock kicks. It's a 4-year deal for $240 million, $60 million a year. 231 of that 240 is guaranteed. $80 million pen to paper. There is a lot of money being shifted around, and I want to just preface this by saying, yes, we can afford it. Okay, so before we jump down each other's throats about if we can afford this contract or not, we can. This was a big deal for the Cowboys to get this done. They lock up their quarterback, their franchise quarterback, for the next 4 years. I'll go to Keith first. How do you feel about the contract? Are you confident that this guy is going to be the guy for the next 4? Or did you think this was like a safe move, just keep the guy around because we don't really have an option?
Dak Prescott had his second or tied for his first best season ever compared to his rookie year. I know all the stat nerds are like, oh, what are you talking about? Stats, look at his stats, his rookie year weren't that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the poise, the less mistakes, the game managing, all that kind of stuff. He was fantastic at it last year. I'm completely fine with it. And I just rather hear that somebody signed. Like I said, I hate hearing these numbers.
Yeah, nobody likes the numbers.
It's just like, I don't need to hear it, man. I mean, so many people listening to this show are barely getting by every fucking day.
Including one of the hosts,
yeah,
which is me. So.
But I'm just saying, no, I'm hearing the 60 million. It's like, good for you, man. Awesome. But I'm just happy he's a Dallas Cowboy because he's a good kid. He's such a good kid. I'm both of you, by the way, last week. Horrible.
Brett, how we feeling, man, about that? I know you and I went back and forth on the text. I know that.
Here's the problem with text. You can't get connotation. And my point is, it's just going to be the standard now. I mean, then there's going to be quarterbacks signing for more than him. I mean, look, as long as it doesn't hurt the team, and we're going to be able to keep Micah Parsons, and then we're going to be able to keep Overshown, who, by the way, I told you, man, that kid's legit, bro. And whatever. If the Jones gave him $1 billion and they can afford it, it's not going to take away from the team. Then yeah, who cares? I don't care what he gets. And he is a good kid.
I was having these daydream nightmares, or I don't even know what you call them, but of the fact that the New York Giants look so bad in their game, and Daniel Jones looks so bad. I'm sitting there like, man, I know there was a group of Giants fans out there that were jonesing that Dak would not sign this deal and would become a free agent because the Maras might have thrown everything they had at him, plus the kitchen sink and a key to the city. But that's not our problem anymore. Dak Prescott signed. CeeDee Lamb is signed. The big dogs are signed right now. The next one, and it's already been reported that the next one is Micah Parsons, and it will not be even negotiated or talked about until after this season. So let's put that behind us. We'll talk about that, have that drama surround us next summer. But Dak Prescott and company are ready to win games. Speaking of winning games, that's what the Dallas Cowboys did on Sunday with a 33-17 win over the Cleveland Browns. A very big win. Two of us had Dallas winning this game. One of us decided to log on and also make his name 0-1 because he's owning up to it. Yeah, of course. I notice everything, and you're owning up to it. You said that in the text because you weren't able to talk on last week's podcast, but you did say the Cowboys will lose by double digits.
Yes.
And here we are, 33-17. It's not, and the score does not like dictate what happened in this game. The Cowboys dominated on every facet you could possibly dominate, including special teams, which Brandon Aubrey is a fucking weapon. All right. There's no other way to describe this guy. He's a weapon, and he's great to have because we haven't had a kicker like this since Dan Bailey. And even Dan Bailey had his hiccups here and there, so Brandon Aubrey coming in here, literally just the fact that they trotted him out for a 71, even though it was never going to happen. I was just like, holy shit, is this really going to happen? Like, is he going to kick it from the opposite 40-yard line? Like, I don't even know where we are. I don't know if you know, like Bret probably monitored because he likes to gamble. He probably monitored the scores around the league, but the kickers flourished on Sunday. All kickers. There was a lot of kicking going on Sunday. Brandon Aubrey is our guy, but Keith, we'll start with you. Your first takeaways from this game. You see that what we were able to do on offense, the first half, a lot better than the second half. Defense showed up. Special teams did their thing. We even got a punt return. Your knee-jerk reaction to the win and how you feel where it could potentially take us.
I mean, it was an awesome win, but I will say, I think the reason we won, one of the main reasons that we're not kind of brushing on is Deshaun Watson. Didn't play. The guy hasn't played for a long time. They throw him right in, and Bret was bringing that up when we were watching the game. He's like, that's why you need preseason. Like, there are players that need to play. They just jump in and think, I don't care how long he's been playing. And he really hasn't been playing that long. But watching the game again, which I did, in his defense, there were some drop balls, man. There were some drop balls on Deshaun Watson that could have maybe prolonged drives and momentum.
Pretty sure they dropped a touchdown pass too.
Yeah. So
I forget who was running that route, but he was wide open.
Exactly. So I meant, obviously, and I'll say this, week by week, get excited, have fun, because we never know what next week's going to be. So, everyone enjoy the win. But, I still have to see more. I know it sounds crazy, but I have to see more.
Which part are you still kind of like?
I just want to see another offense. They didn't run as much, the Browns. I think.
I remember they were down. They were down Nick Chubb, and they had
exactly. I thought offensively, Browns had one of the best defenses last year. They did have the best defense. So that was the most shocking thing. Now everyone is, once again, the game management, from Dak and us. I think time of possession, they won it, but that doesn't mean anything in this game. But all around offensively, against the number one defense, and to see Zeke out there running like he was running, all around. We had 3 and outs, but that's okay against that kind of defense. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, but we'd have a long drive every now and then. We do those things, and I still say this team goes through our defense. It does, and our offense did what they had to do. They did what after they gave the ball up, not gave the ball up. We had that opening drive. They got into field goal range easily from an awesome punt return. Our defense stepped up and gave them a field goal. And what did our offense do? We came back, and I think we may have had another 3 and out or something, but then we came back with that long 70-yard drive. Meticulous down the field.
Yeah. And like you were saying, dude, Zeke's first run, it was called back, but he's leaping over guys in his first run.
He leaped over that guy. The guy was standing straight up. He didn't even bend down. What the fuck is that?
Dude, I'm telling you, I understand that Zeke's washed. Zeke's washed. He can't run the ball no more. Dude, he was out to make a point and shut everybody up in 1 minute. He ran. Listen, he did lead the team in attempts on with the rushing. He had 10 carries for 40 yards, 4 yards a carry, which look again, not terrible. And Zeke out of the backfield with 2 catches for 9 yards, and he made 1 first down look real easy. So a great performance of Zeke back.
Did you see him picking up the blocks too?
And that is what we've been talking about.
This is stupid shit Pat Volckermer doesn't realize, the maniac. This is stuff he doesn't realize. I mean, he's just waiting he's waiting for 1 fumble or something just to go fucking nuts. But he doesn't understand how a running back works, the complete package. Blocking, running, receiving. Zeke has that. He does. So however you want to look at it, whether he's as good as it was before or whatever it is, he has it, and he still has it, and he proved it on against the best defense in the NFL statistically. So,
Brett, how we feeling, man?
Listen, the problem with the question mark again. I mean, our defense we played well, but they were missing 2 offensive linemen. Chubb was out. It was really, they did the best job possible. I mean, we got home 6 times. You know what I mean? Offense played great. They weren't missing any starters on defense. And, we did. We played the number 1 defense in the NFL. We were underdogs going into Cleveland. We managed the game beautifully. Statistically, look, again, they're going to win in time of possession because after you jump ahead, you're in a prevent. There's there's statistics and there's analytics. They got to us 3 times. I think our 2 rookies had a great game on the offensive line, but really who shined the most. And even though Nealon didn't get any sacks, that kid had 9 pressures coming off the end. And again, Overshown, man, that kid played lights out. And, it's funny because, and again, I'm not comparing myself to him. That's the style of play that I had is, downhill, very aggressive. The problem with me was I wasn't smart. I could take myself out of plays sometimes. But, it's funny too that you ever notice that people that excel in college sometimes can't excel in the NFL, and then you have guys that did well in college but really step it up in the NFL. Sure. The NFL style of play is more conducive to a guy like Overshown because it's much faster, right? I don't know if you noticed his downhill speed was amazing. There was a play where I think D-Law got caught up and what's his name? Deshaun Watson rolled out. There was the receiver ran out into the flat. Micah and Overshown were both on the same side. Micah came around, started keeping containment. Overshown just sped down, and we got the sack.
That was a 4th down. That was a 4th down.
That's making the rounds. That play.
I've
seen that play like 4 or 5 times on my feed.
Yeah, I put it out on Twitter. I saw the highlight and I put it on Twitter. It's gotten a lot of traction. Overshown goes for 11 total tackles, 5 solo. So that's huge. With the sack, the big sack, a tackle for a loss. So it's like Overshown definitely showed out. But let's also give the flowers and the burn to Eric Kendricks in his first game as a Cowboy, man. That dude, are you kidding me? Like,
here's the thing.
Sacks, 6 solo tackles. This dude is it is a nice thing to the first 2 things we're talking about right now are 2 linebackers.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a foreign thing for us on the Jersey Boyz podcast, because how many times where it's like we got guys out of place, we got guys that are undersized, we got guys that can't make a tackle. Now all of a sudden,
they can't hit a hole. Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're deep. We have decent linebackers.
That's the thing too, is all of our guys were where they needed to be. And the other thing I loved, even though let me look at the penalties, but we played pretty disciplined.
Penalties across the board in the NFL were up. The Cowboys had a couple nasty ones, but like nothing to stall a drive or prolong a drive. You know what I mean? Like nothing too crazy.
We had one called back on special teams, which that goes against you. Which our special teams obviously played great. Shout out to Deuce Vaughn, who was making some key blocks. But again, like I said, it was really hard for our right now. Our defense wasn't playing against their best offense, but we still looked great. And if you were looking at it on film, where we need to be. I mean, we were watching it, and me and Keith were live, even though my brother was a little drunk and going, but we had a great time watching it. Yeah, man, it's all. I mean, this is the way I thought it would play out. It was still a speculation, only because, we didn't know what Deshaun Watson was going to show up. And, obviously it wasn't his best game. So it's really hard to gauge the defense on it. But offensively, we played great. And I don't know if it's off cam. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but all three of us were very happy we got Zeke back. And I know
you're not going to find a bigger advocate for Zeke than me. So
it's great. It's great. He's a Cowboy, and we know he still has something in the tank, and he showed it. And again, it's those little things that he does, like picking up blocks, and even there was you get him out in a screen, he's out, he's gone. He's still got his speed, and it just was a great game. CD played great, even though he didn't get a tug, but. You got to understand too, when you have him out there, who are you going to double? Who are you going to cheat the safety to? And that left Brooks open. That left what's his name? Cooks. Yeah. I mean, dude, it was really nice, and we also dodged a bullet by Fergie being okay.
There's actually, and from what I'm gathering from all the information, there's actually an outside chance he plays on Sunday, which is bonkers. Like that kind of shit usually doesn't work for us. And if he doesn't go, we're going to get a little bit of John Stevens. We're going to get a little bit of a couple of these guys that came in there out of nowhere and picked up the slack. And we also saw Lipke line up as a tight end. I was just
going to say, Lipke played great. That's the type of guy that you need on your team.
Well,
that's why it was important to keep him. That he could do a lot. He could do a lot out of the backfield. He runs north-south. He runs hard. He could play tight end. He could get. I mean, the kid can block. Two catches for 18 yards out of Lipke, so that's a big one. But CeeDee Lamb, going back to him real quick, what an absolute weapon this guy is. And look, you could say what you want. To me, he's the best in the league right now. I truly believe that. Why? Because I think that he provides a little bit more. A different skill set than the other receivers. And this is not taken away from the Devontae Adams and the Justin Jeffersons of the world. But, bro, how many times, and it actually happened 3 times, that CeeDee Lamb came on a jet sweep and made something happen. You know what I mean? Like, and it's almost as if the Cowboys know that once they haven't done it yet, but imagine a team biting on that and completely faking out because they see him in motion and all of a sudden somebody's just going to be wide open. Right. So they haven't even checked to a play action off that. CeeDee Lamb is just making it happen. So CeeDee Lamb gets the ball 3 times on the ground for 25 yards. And then, of course, 5 catches on his 10 targets for 61 yards. CeeDee Lamb had himself a game. And that's exactly what you want. And look, call it how you see it. That's Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb for the next 4 years together. So here's a question. Because I couldn't really tell. I don't know if they did a good job or, but our interior D linemen, I know they were taking blocks and because our edges are so fast. I couldn't really gauge on how well they did. Obviously they weren't detrimental as they've been in the past. But
what was the longest run that the Browns had in the first 2-3 quarters, not when it was like nothing going on. Not when we're in prevent and stuff.
Right.
I don't think there was. I think Deshaun Watson.
And I think that the Cowboys definitely they held it to where they needed to hold it. Like we're not here on the podcast today talking about I can't believe we had this, that, and a third, and we missed out on this and this, that, and a third. Like if you look at their rushing, we held them to under 100 yards. So it's like that's a big thing in the NFL, man. It's like 100 yards usually guaranteed almost.
Yeah.
Can I also point out the kid Carson, that's his name, right? The rookie, Caleb. Yeah. Dude, I was telling my brother while we were watching 4 or 5 times that kid. There was the first play where he went for the pick and the kid caught the ball and went out of bounds. But he is around the ball 20 all the time. You can't see that's the type of stuff you can't teach is that knack for the ball, knowing where it's at. The kid, there was like 4 times where I'm like, he almost got a pick. He played
Yeah,
great. He played
I'm
great.
looking at this defense too, man. Look at 2, 4, that's 8, 13, 15, 16, 17 quarterback hits by our defense. 17. They gave Deshaun Watson an absolute fucking fit. And that's exactly what you want on every quarterback. And it's funny because Keith and Brett, we both know how I don't want to say struggle because that's not the right word, but like when there's a scrambling quarterback, we're like, oh, here we go. You got to chase this guy around. Deshaun Watson is the athlete of athletes. Okay. A couple of years back, he was one of the best in the league at getting out of the pocket and making something out of nothing. And we understand he's dealt with the shoulder stuff. We understand he's got, all the bullshit that he's dealt with outside the game. But like to hold him to pretty much abysmal play, that's a big thing on the defense. So, credit to the defense. Again, the offense started off good. I don't want to say that just based off the shows I've watched, whether it be, on DallasCowboys.com or a couple other shows that I watch throughout the week, they don't want to say that they took the pedal off the gas at all, but it seemed like the second half was called a little bit differently. And Mike McCarthy was just like, it's almost as if it was a little different feel.
No, it was smart. It was smart. Also, too, Dak, the game management was unbelievable again statistically, but we also had a lot of short field, which is a good thing. We were sometimes, with our special teams, with our punt returns, and also, where we were getting the ball on our turnovers. That always comes into play when you're looking at statistics. But Dak played an amazing game. Smart plays, rolled out that touchdown. That was a jailbreak.
Yeah. And he read it too. What's crazy is they broke that play down. They broke that play down on one of the shows, and it's funny because as soon as he saw the man coverage, right, and he saw what he needed to do, he stopped, paused, looked around, brought the tight end in from the other side just to chip a block, and we did miss an assignment or two because Dak was under serious duress, but off his back foot, my man drops a dime to Brandon Cooks for the touchdown.
He rolled left. He rolled left quick. To give him,
he didn't really have to roll. He kind of backpedaled a little bit, and then he threw off his back foot.
And he knew exactly where Brooks was going, and it was a beautiful play.
Yeah. So in any event, the Cowboys are off to a solid start. Being that well-rounded, the only thing, look, you always have to pick out a couple things that they can do differently. Like I think they're once again time management at the end of a half wasn't ideal. The fact that was all McCarthy still thinks he can hold timeouts and carry over. It's insane.
Like I said, he holds on to it like Bitcoin. Dude. and Aubrey made the kick. I didn't think he made it. I thought that it fell short.
The first one, the 66-yarder or whatever.
Yeah, the one that didn't count because we didn't. Yeah,
the only thing I can say about that moment is that like even if you think that you didn't get a fresh play clock, the least you can do is throw up the panic button and say like, oh, the time's about to run out. I should call a timeout just in case. We had 3. So it's not like, you know what I mean? Like what are we waiting on to call a timeout in that situation? But again, nobody's perfect. We didn't play a perfect game, but we played a pretty goddamn good one. And look, the Cowboys win. So let's give a game ball out.
Well, hold on. I wanted to say something. I couldn't get a word in before. Sure. When you guys, I think it was like 3 topics ago, when you were talking about the second half, like the play calling in the second half.
Yeah.
How they toned it down, which I agree. I like that because how that game reminded me of when I was watching it. Like I felt like there's not many games you watch and that there's a certain point where you're like, we're going to win this. Like there was a point in that game in the beginning, I didn't think we were going to win at all. But then there was a certain point, like, and even the second quarter, when we're up 7-3, it started to feel like we're going to win this game. Like, I don't care what happens, we're going to win this game. Like, and the only game that's ever happened to me in recent memory where I thought we were going to win and we lost it because of our play calling in the second half. And it was because of, I would say, Dak and his interceptions was Jacksonville. I'm not talking about the Noah Brown one. There was another one he threw in their red zone. He was trying to get it to Schultz, and it was a terrible pass. Got them back in the game. I meant like stuff like that where it was a Kellen Moore call. It was like a first down. We're up by 17, and then he goes and throws an interception against Jacksonville, and then that just started spiraling down. Hill, and we ended up losing that game, as you guys know. But that's why I like the play calling in the second half. Just keep it simple. Don't go, if you pass when you have to pass, you don't need to be tricky. You don't need to do any of that shit. You know what I mean?
And the other thing too is it was so fast paced that we were running. When we started slowing down, you switch up when you're switching up the pace, you can slow their momentum down too, right? Because if you're used to, okay, they're firing, they're gunning, they're running, then all of a sudden, okay, we're doing short passes, getting back, taking our time, running the ball when they think we're going to pass. I'm sure there's specifics I could use. I'm being generic in general here, but it does switch up the tempo, which can throw the defense off. And,
sure.
This new system is perfect for Dak. I think a lot of it was Kellen Moore, the play calling, the way that McCarthy, you got to give him props on that. On this game, the play calling was phenomenal, I think, except for the timeout and the field goal.
Yeah, I mean, outside the blunder with the field goal and the timeouts and stuff like that, he called a really good game. And
Zimmer's got that defense. They were all in position where they needed to be, and that linebacker. And again, it's such a huge help.
It is, and I think that we all kind of. Well, I don't want to say we were a suspect on Zimmer. We know what Zimmer is capable of doing. We just didn't know if it was going to show itself immediately and then we would take some weeks to adjust. But man, oh man, were those guys. And Micah and Trayvon both said at the end of the game in their post games that they showed 2 of the 50 combinations that they know that Zimmer has installed. It's they haven't shown anything yet. And that's the kind of domination that they showed in one game. So I'm really excited to see what they can do. And look, there's going to be times where we get burnt, right? There's going to be times we miss tackles and screw a couple things up. This team's not going to be perfect by any stretch, but what they showed this past Sunday was something pretty good.
I'm all three of them. Here comes the Grinch. Here he fucking comes. All right, whatever.
Well, look. And it's funny because everybody moves the goalpost for the Cowboys. If it's a big winning over the Giants last year, 40-0, you're right. You can't puff out your chest because it's the Giants and they're abysmal.
We did the same thing. It was we were all because it was the
no,
Giants.
But I'm saying the national media has to understand that the Cleveland Browns were a playoff team, and then on top of that, they got their fucking franchise quarterback back.
That's what impressed me more and why I picked against them, because we have not won a game like that. A playoff team, which we don't, they were a playoff team last year. That's what we're going off of. But yeah, we'll say one of the best defenses, playoff team, and go into their home and fucking own them. I can't tell you the last time they did that.
This week one win is more impressive than last year.
Oh, absolutely. I would say there was a time when Zimmer was the head coach of the Vikings. I remember we smacked him down with Dak and our defense, but still, it still wasn't as impressive as this, because this was really kind of both sides of the ball to me. I know our defense showed, but it was both sides of the ball. It wasn't just one side and, the other side was just carrying along. They were both helping each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. They were.
All right, quick question.
Sure.
Without Googling or anything, why are you shaking your head, bro?
Because I'm out. Whatever this question is, I'm out. There's no way I'm going to remember.
Is the Google master, man. He needs.
All right, what was our second game last year after the Giants?
Shit. Were we there? Was it New England? It was New England, right? Me and Brett were there.
Jets.
Oh yeah.
It was the Jets. And then it was New England.
Nope.
Well, didn't we score 80-something points?
It was
90
Arizona. We were on our high horse. We beat the fuck out of the Giants, and we beat up the Jets, even though they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, but their defense was so good, and we fucking ran them. And we go into Arizona all giddy. And they beat our ass.
Literally the Achilles heel of last year.
Out of us with a fourth string quarterback. So that's my whole thing. It still lingers.
Listen, it's a week-to-week league, man. It's a week-to-week league.
And I keep saying that. I'm not telling everyone to be excited. Not to be excited. Take it week by week. It's just funny. That's why I'm laughing, is because I can see something. And maybe even next week against fucking the Saints or just some shit that, the sky's falling again, just like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, it'll be hard, barring.
Insert Brett, right? He didn't say it. Okay. I was waiting for something.
Well, no, I mean, look, it's a week.
I want to hear this team's built different, like he said all last year. This team's built different.
It is a different team, man. And look, you got to remember, last year was our first year in a new offensive system. Okay, our O line was questionable. Our linebacking core and D tackles were not up to par. Nope. You know, as much as I like Quinn, there was a lot of stunting he was doing, using a lot of safeties to come up. You know, it was more of a pass. What you call it? I don't want to say pass heavy defense, but you know, we had some undersized guys there. We weren't playing disciplined. You just got to go week to week. But this is a better team, and I said that before the season.
I would say different. I would say definitely different. Better. We'll see. I mean, you know, it's still too early to say it's a better team.
I mean, it's small sample size. You really can't go too nuts, but
guys, you got to understand too. Our offensive line last year, we didn't know who was starting.
Here's my question, bro. Then how were you talking about them every week, saying this team is built different? I knew from the beginning, from training camp and watch. You talked like they were awesome last year. Now you're talking.
They were. They played phenomenal. They were.
Okay, they played phenomenal last Sunday. So this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but you got to remember too, right? Let's just go back to, and again, it's much difficult now in today's era. But when we saw the Cowboys when they went 11-5 in the early 90s, and you were like, okay, this team is got young guys on it. They're playing great. Then we lost to, I think it was Detroit in the playoffs. This is a more improved, better team than last year. Now, again, it's a week-to-week thing, okay? But our defense basically picked up where it left off before the Green Bay game. All right. Now, granted, Philadelphia.
It didn't. Because there were teams like Buffalo. There were teams like the Niners. There were teams like Arizona. Shit, even fucking Carolina did a little number. So I would say no. This defense, yes. I am more impressed in this one fucking game than I was with the defense all last year.
But you gave me a hypothetical in a sense, right? It's like, of course, we're going to talk about it week to week. We have to. Mm-hmm. And to sit here and say that this defense isn't improved and, you know, this is Dak's second year in a new system, all that stuff factors in. I mean, it's not the same team as last year, and I think it's a better team. And I'll die on that.
Yeah, no, and that will remain to be seen. And
so,
now, speaking of that,
wait, hold on. I know we're trying to get out of here because I heard was there a fight tonight?
You just want to fight, but let's go. What do you want to argue about?
I'm not going to argue about anything. I'm just going to bring something up about Vegas. Jesus, because we're in Vegas, and we were looking at the bets, and it's crazy. The over under I think it was 6 games, and I think I'm going to take the over under for 6 games, where Bret's going to come out and say it's a must win game. I'm taking the under of 6 games. I'm taking the under of his must-win games. It's coming out because remember he almost said it in the preseason game, the last preseason game. He almost called that a must-win.
Let's look at last year's track record. All those wins that I said we needed to win, and the ones that we did, is the reason why we were second seed in the playoffs. All of this stuff comes into play. Now, if we would have lost to Cleveland, it's nowhere near as big of a game as if we had an NFC team that we had to play. Because, like, now look at the Eagles. The Eagles are ahead of us, even though we're 1-0, because they beat Green Bay. All right. There's certain games that have more implications longer down the road. We're playing chess. We're not playing checkers, Grinch.
I told you. I took the bet. We're going to win.
All right.
Just say it. The Saints game is a must-win game. Just say it.
No, must-wins start coming into season 6 and 7.
I'll tell you right now. It's a more important win than it would be on the Browns. It's NFC. We know how it works, right? Got to win those NFC games. Anyway, before we get to the Saints and pick that game and preview that for a second, give a game ball out, one game ball. It can be obvious. It can be out of nowhere. But I'm going to start because I think I got one that's different than what you guys got. And my game ball is going to go to a guy who not only started his first game in the NFL, but started his first game in the NFL at center.
I knew it.
What?
Listen.
What? Okay, let him get. He gets it.
Listen. It was a very good performance for a guy who's never played this position before, and for him not to let up one pressure, not one, up the gut, no matter who they trot out at defensive tackle. Didn't matter. You never had to be concerned with somebody coming up the middle on Dak Prescott. Guyton had himself a great day as well, specifically the fact that he had to take on the monster of Myles Garrett. He had himself just, I believe, three pressures, 1 sack, but like I think it was like 10 times he was one-on-one. And of course, we chipped him up with Zeke when we had to. But I give it to Cooper Beebe. I think this kid's going to be very, very good. I think he's a dog, and I think he's got that grit, and he's got just this poise about him where they changed his position. He said, "No problem, coach. Put me in. I'm ready to fucking maul somebody." And he did that. So Cooper Beebe, listen, we say it year in and year out. This is year 5 of this podcast. Year in and year out. It starts in the trenches. And if we have ourselves a decent offensive line, or we already know what we got in Martin, we kind of already know what we got in Tyler Smith, we kind of already know what we got in Terrence Steele. We don't know about Cooper Beebe and, of course, Tyler Guyton. And against a really, really good defensive front, they did okay. They did I would say more than okay. So my game ball is going to Cooper Beebe.
I would say though about Cooper Beebe, the reason why I was going nuts is because if you asked me before you said anything who I thought your player of the game was, I would have said Cooper Beebe for you, because you've been on him. I know. I mean, I've made fun of you for saying he was going to start. So I might know a thing or two. I'm not a genius. I was trying to stop you before it came out of your mouth. And as soon as you started the presentation of, here's a guy who never played this.
Bro, first of all, you know what?
Why can't we just have a podcast?
What? In my mind, listen,
in my mind. Wrong, Sturch?
No. I'm just saying, in my mind, I know what, like, I'm going to clip this up after, right? And like make sure, like, so I have to give a presentation, because if I come out of here like game ball goes to BB, he played great. Okay, that's fucking awesome. There's too many hacks out there that are out there saying like this guy was dialed in. Okay, give me a reason why he was dialed in. Right?
Your reason was amazing. I'm not making fun of what you said. I'm just saying though, I knew.
You just knew I was going to double down on the fact because you and I went all summer.
Yeah, of course.
Keith knows exactly what we're going to say and all that. He just couldn't figure out that we weren't going to lose.
He's like the Tony Romo of our broadcast. Like he's just like he knows what we're going to say when it's like B Rabbit's final battle.
No. He just was making fun of me saying I know everything. No, I'm
saying you know exactly what's coming out of our mouths. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't know what's coming out of mine. You don't know what's coming out of mine. You don't know what's coming out of mine.
Okay, but we're not trying to predict it. He's just trying to talk.
I know, but you're the one that just brought up that I know what's coming out of everyone's mouth. Now I thought
you should.
It just makes it unpredictable. I don't stay one fucking course.
Wow. This is what honestly this is what gets us the downloads and the ratings is the unpredictability and just wild card that is the Grinch.
The most unpredictable thing right now is that little alfalfa curl.
You got to talk about my looks. All right. That's how I know I'm winning. That's how I know I'm winning. I know Overshawn is your player of the game.
Well, I was gonna say, and he's correct. It's out of Kendricks and Overshawn. I think they both played phenomenal. Obviously, Micah would have been the obvious choice because he played great. I mean, we're not even what he had. Mike had a sack. Obviously had that tip that caused the interception. But Overshawn played phenomenal. He had 5 tackles, 4 assists. I'm looking at his stats now. 1 sack. Not to talk about the pressures, but the reason why I'd give it to Overshawn is he's coming off that injury. It was basically his first. Basically, he's a rookie, and it was his first game, and he played phenomenal. It would be between him and Kendricks, but I'm going with Overshawn because my Overshawn to me is Sturchio's BB. There you go. You're right, Keith. I was going to say Overshawn.
Yeah, I know.
Keith, now pick Brian Anger, and we'll call it a day. Who do you want? Who are you picking?
Well, go ahead. You think Anger? I mean, who do you think I'm going to pick?
No, I don't think Anger. I think
he's going to go Zeke.
I think he's going to go CeeDee Lamb.
No, D-Law.
Love that.
Okay, and the main reason why I know it was border. It may have been Zeke. I think it may have been Zeke, but the main reason it's D-Law is the little things he does on the field that everyone talks about. Watching the game again, and I was watching him. I mean, obviously, we all know he had, he gave pressure. I believe he had a sack.
Two. Yeah.
So I meant my whole thing, but the one thing I saw, and I don't usually comment it like you guys do, the sounds of the sideline.
Oh, I just watched it.
Was him being the main guy Like talk that he gave. We're talking about holding the way he was expressing himself and the way he was getting the team going, and and not only that, he showed out in the game to match that intensity. So we need a defensive captain. It seems like it's clear. D-Law is the defensive captain. It took him a while to get there. I think he's there now. So that's why I'm giving it to him.
I like it. All right.
What's great too, though, by the way, when you have got like Micah, the way he was playing, D-Law, Overshown, it just becomes that type of, when you're in a locker room, that type
Contagious.
of, they played angry. They played violent. They, even everybody they were flying, they were hitting, they were in the right spot. Again, it's hard to gauge because how many key players Cleveland was missing. But if I were to pick the overall unit, our offense really, really played smart. They played almost mistake-free. And, it just was a great game, man. This was, I'd rather be talking about this right now than the other way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, offense was a lot better in the first half than they were in the second half, but that was okay because of the fact that the score was the way it was. And then we kind of dominated from there. All right, moving on to week number 2. We will touch on this a little, just briefly. The Saints put up a massive number against a very bad Carolina football team. I mean, it's just, look, Bryce Young did not look good. That hasn't changed from last year. They rushed for, the Saints only gave up 58 yards on the ground. So, it was just tough sledding from the jump. The Saints rushed for $180, and 83 of it came from Alvin Kamara, 38 out of Jamal Williams. You got the wild card that is Taysom Hill. You got to watch out for him, obviously. Big play by Rashid Shaheed. Derek Carr, 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. They had themselves a really good day. So when you look at a team like this, Keith, in come a couple familiar faces. I know that there's, it's not, they got home 4 times. 3 of it went to Alante Taylor. So that's somebody to just keep your eye on and watch out for the, obviously the new kid, Guyton, and everybody inside, and my man Cooper Beebe. Like, those guys got to be on their P's and Q's because they got home 4 times. But when you look at the Saints right off the top, what stands out to you, and how do you feel like this game will go for us?
I thought the Saints were going to be awful. I'm not going to lie. I took Carolina with the points. I thought it'd be close. I don't trust Derek Carr. Never have. He's too wish-washy. He always has been. So I haven't watched the condensed version of their game yet. I plan on it. But I haven't been able to, just to see, exactly how they won. And if it was that dominant as the score was, I can't give an honest opinion. So that's my evaluation of the Saints right now. Be honest with you. I don't trust them. I don't trust them either.
You picked the Cowboys to lose by double digits to Cleveland. Now, obviously, your tune has changed a little bit, considering what you saw on film multiple times over. So do the Cowboys get out of this one and go 2-0? And they got a home field. They're 6.5-point favorites. How do you feel this one's going to play out?
Hey, Brett, you already got your prediction and everything?
I'm just going to say, on paper, it's a must win.
No, again, I just want to know, because he likes to steal my shit after I say shit. So
I don't steal anything from you. You're not this fucking guru that I'm worshiping. And I know you know your shit. By the way, savage tan. That's savage tan.
All right, then I'm going to go.
A nice tan.
He's got a strong tan going.
I'm going to go with this is what I feel. I feel like the Saints don't really have any injuries. I think Michael Thomas, I don't even know he's on the team anymore.
No, he's not on the team anymore.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But they have most of their starters on both sides right now, from what I understand. I think that coming off that win, as a locker room and stuff, they might be feeling a little disrespected that the points are 6.5. I think on the flip side, one thing, and I got to see if it changes. I haven't seen it. The attitude of being overconfident going into a game after such a big win.
Right.
I see us winning, but I don't think we cover.
Okay.
I don't think we cover. I mean, I'm looking at we get a scare a little bit where it's not, we get some not intimate, but private texts from each other where certain people are saying we suck. We're not going to, I see some of that, but I see us pulling this out. I know a lot of people are going to predict us to win big. I don't see that. I don't
either. I'll save Bret for last. I don't see it being a blowout by any stretch. I think they're going to continue to stay the course. I think the defense will play well. I think there's going to be an Alvin Kamara or a Shaheed type touchdown early where I will probably be the first one to text the group and say, what the fuck is going on here? We might trail first, 7-0 or a couple field goals here or something like that, where we have to respond to the adversity of being down. And we just did that. So I know what this team's capable of. I know what Dak Prescott mentally and physically is capable of. I do think it's not going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. As far as covering is concerned, I mean, look, I think the Dallas Cowboys will definitely rack up at least 24 points on the Saints and maybe give up 18, 17, 24-17. Maybe they do cover, but it's not going to be as dramatic as what we just saw with the Cleveland Browns. Derek Carr, he is wishy-washy. He is hit or miss, but when he's on, he's a very good quarterback. I like Derek Carr. I've been a Derek Carr guy for a long time. And now that he has these little annoying weapons, I'm talking about Shaheed, he's very fast, right? And then you got the fucking Taysom Hill effect where you know that jerk off is going to just break out, flank out as a tight end.
Did you see what they do now?
RPO? Huh?
Did you see they line him up at running back on the goal line?
Dude, they line him up everywhere. But
he gets in like nothing. It's like I haven't seen this game. I was watching the preseason games. So
he did. He did some work in the preseason. I mean, in the regular season too. Yesterday he had 5 carries for 35 yards, so 7 yards a carry, man. So that's an annoying thing.
He's like 35 or something.
Dude, he feels like he's been in this league forever.
No, I looked at his age. I was like, damn, he's still going. Like,
yeah. I mean, look, he's 34. Yeah, he was born in 1990. I just looked it up. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a pest of a game to start. But I think the Cowboys ultimately take care of business at the end and get to 2-0, and they continue this massive home winning streak that is carried back from 2 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what I got. 24-17. Give me the Cowboys. Brett, take it home.
Yeah, I don't think we're coming in this game arrogant. I think that loss to Green Bay stings still. I do see us winning by at least 10. I don't know if I was sitting next to standing next to a Panthers fan. I was like, is New Orleans that good or are you guys that bad? And he said, we're that bad. And I don't know if the Saints are that good. I do know Derek Carr in the first half of the season, he does play well. He's like, what's his name? The quarterback that everybody paid lots of money for was at Minnesota.
Well, Sam Bradford?
No.
What are you talking
Minnesota?
about?
No.
Kirk
Cousins? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that plays like first half, he's amazing. First half of the season.
He was last Sunday.
But no, I think I think Dallas is going to show a solid, have a solid game plan. I don't think they're playing cocky. I think they still, I love the fact they didn't even have us in the top 10 teams in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I saw them as low as 16. It's like,
that's great.
Cool. No, that's great. I would love to fly under the radar all year long and have nobody even bother to talk about us. But of course, ESPN. By the way, headline on ESPN today: are the Cowboys Super Bowl contenders? I'm like, you guys got to make up your fucking mind.
The media. It's always the media that does this. It always says, the Cowboy fans, this, that. We are extremely. In fact, we're beaten down so much that we're just used to the wheels falling off. But again, I think we went pretty soundly. I think they'll get about maybe 17 points. I think we could put up about 30. Okay. So I'll say like 30-17.
All right. So similar to me, you got one more touchdown. Keith, what's up?
No, I was going to say something that my call of the weekend. All right. And the biggest call for me, and it's only because I was in Vegas and I would have won a lot of money if this one game hit.
The Rams?
No, that was after this. That was me trying to, That was Monday night. No, the one game, and the main reason I did it is because of rookie quarterbacks and how they perform on the first week usually. And I took the Titans, and I cannot believe they're up 17-0, and they blow the game. Dude, they had 110 total yards, the Bears.
Bro, it was not. I put it on my show yesterday. I said it. I was like, not for nothing, but the Bears to win that game without Caleb Williams doing anything spectacular. Bro, that's a gritty ass win, bro. That's a big win for the Bears. So
look, there was that stupid interception that Levis threw, and then also the special teams. They had a blocked punt and a return punt. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, but here's my call about the whole thing. Who's the last rookie quarterback to win in the NFL his opening game, fresh out first game he's ever played and started of the season? Who's the first quarterback ever? Rookie.
Wait, it has to be the first game of the season, not just the first start?
First game of the season, first start, same thing.
So this hasn't happened in a long, long, long time.
What I'm saying, you're drafted and you start that first game.
Okay.
So Caleb Williams is the first quarterback to do this with this shitty fucking performance since
it's in the 90s. I want to say 80s or 90s. Okay. And I want to say I'm going to tell you right away, Sturchie, and you're going to know because we talk about it as one of the worst losses in the history of of course, it was against us. Oh, fucking David Carr?
Yes, it was David Carr. That was dude.
Well, now we're going to take it out on your bitch-made brother, dog.
Yeah, I know. Now we got. That's true. That's all I want to talk about. I thought that was.
I'll tell you the Eagles, man. We're just looking around the league, man. Niners look good. Eagles look good. I really thought Eagles were going to lose. They fucked my whole parlay up.
Stop parlaying, motherfucker. You're going to lose all your money.
Hey.
Listen,
I should have just
every time a parlay hits, you're like, I'm a genius. But 9 times out of 10, a parlay will dog you, and you know that. You're a pro.
Yeah, no, but this one would have hit pretty big. I should have just took a bet against the Giants and the Redskins, and then took the Cowboys. I would have been fine.
Bro, I swore last night. Which even when I heard McCaffrey was out, I'm like, I thought the Jets were going to win already. And when I heard McCaffrey was out, I'm like, shit, this is fucking over. Fucking Jets are up 7-0. I'm like, because when I was with people, I'm like, what did I say? I got fucking ran out.
And I don't think they got the ball anymore after that.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's rough.
Dude, you know what? Chicago's defense, looked great. Pittsburgh's defense looked pretty good. It was a weird week 1, bro. And then the Patriots beating the Bengals. I never would have said that. There's
how many eliminator pools or whatever those pools shut down.
I was just gonna say that suicide pool at Circa. Most people took that one as the guaranteed loss. It's like 60% of people are out of it already because of that one game.
Crazy, but look, that's 1 week.
I gotta go.
Yeah, the NFL season is 1 week.
All right, love you, bro.
And Dallas Cowboys have one game coming up this week. It's going to be a good one. We're excited about. We're all picking the Cowboys. We'll all have a couple different things here and there. But for Dave Sturchio, Bret Ernst, and of course the disappearing act that is Keith Ernst.
This is Grinch.
Another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast.
He was Grinching hard,
dude. Not even letting us get anything in. He was on his game today. It was like a pent up week of aggression coming at us in one shot.
He was coming to us live from the Grinch dungeon.
He really was. Dude.
He was Grinching so hard.
Grinch dungeon. Anyway, guys, let's go Cowboys. We'll see you guys next week.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!